where the Rangers gonna be.
Tonight, Dave's got Dana Carvey, Irish dancing with Riverdance, and a little spring training on The Late Show with David Letterman. First, your local news.
Hello, West Michigan. I'm Jamie Bowl. Next on News 3, a West Michigan community has its ambulances halted. Will it hurt response time? We'll find out. Plus, a big day down south for a West Michigan stock car driver. Find out what Johnny Benson Jr. did today. Join Judy Marquis and me for News 3. It's next.
You're watching WWMT. This is West Michigan's News 3 at 11.
A jury of common, ordinary people across the spectrum of occupations has sort of restored my faith a bit.
Dr. Jack Kevorkian says thank you to what he calls a rational jury. Hello, West Michigan. I'm Jamie Bowl.
And I'm Judy Marquis. Our top story for the second time, Dr. Jack Kevorkian has beaten charges of assisted suicide. After 9 hours of deliberations, a jury in Pontiac acquitted the retired pathologist. The case focused on whether he intended to kill or just relieve suffering. When the verdict was read, the courtroom cheered.
Silence in this courtroom.
This is not a personal victory for me, but I give you my solemn promise, oath, that if I ever am involved in the exercise of this right for a patient, for you, for anybody, I will not abuse it, and anything I do in connection with it will always be for human welfare and human benefit. Always.
Kevorkian has been present at a number of suicides. He was charged under the law passed specifically to stop him, but that law has since expired. The assistant prosecutor in the case against Kevorkian says it was hard to get the jury to focus on facts instead of their emotions, but Greg Townsend was undeterred by the verdict.
No person is above the law, and that people that do violate the law will be prosecuted for it. It's not our job to make the laws. It's not our job to legislate the laws. We have an obligation to enforce the laws that are present.
Some jurors also expressed confusion over the temporary ban on assisted suicide and their instructions.
The issue even has members of the medical profession divided. The Michigan State Medical Society asked its ethics commission to draft a stance on the issue, and a West Michigan doctor who is on that commission says the group couldn't. Dr. John Hartline told News 3's Victoria Lim that personally he doesn't condemn Kevorkian. But Hartline says assisted suicide isn't something that can be legally right or wrong.
And that we cannot legislate this particular value on people. And so what we want to do is put in the protections to make sure that there's no frivolous use of this type of activity.
Dr. Hartline says even for his colleagues, it boils down to the question, is it a doctor relieving a patient's pain or another form of murder? Residents in Bangor tonight are asking questions about their ambulance service. Will help be there when they need it?
The concerns are being raised after a change this week, and News 3's Dave Balut joins us with an explanation. Dave, how did this all come about?
Judy, the volunteer fire department in Bangor was apparently having some trouble with ambulance response time, so the Van Buren County Medical Control Authority has ordered a temporary change that works like this. If you slip on the snowy roads in Bangor and get into an accident, emergency medics from the Bangor Fire Department will help you just as they always have. But if you need to go to a hospital, you won't be riding in Bangor's ambulance.
It's just a matter of straightening out some staffing considerations, and until such time as they are able to do that with 100% certainty, the difference is that we've asked for them to seek aid from other services to make sure that the response times are appropriate.
Now, when Bangor gets an emergency response call, an ambulance from either South Haven, Covert, Pinedale, or Van Buren EMS will be sent right away. An emergency room doctor says Bangor patients should get to the hospital faster this way.
These are services that are generally staffed 24 hours a day, so they're going to be able to get a rig on the road within a minute or two.
The doctor says it should work better this way until Bangor can take care of its own staffing problem.
So folks in Bangor are going to be better off with the ambulances coming from out of town?
Well, you wouldn't, that may sound strange, but apparently they think it's faster than having to call a volunteer firefighter in Bangor off his regular job to then come in.
The doctors seem comfortable with it, so that's one thing, I guess.
Right, the doctors are fine with it, so probably the people in Bangor should be too.
All right, thanks,
Dave. The chances have always been slim of this happening.
And for the second time in 2 weeks, quadruplets have been born in West Michigan. Doctors say they expect more multiple births because more couples are waiting to have children and more are using fertility drugs. Russ Bialowas and his wife used a fertility procedure to get pregnant. Doctors delivered their 2 boys and 2 girls at Butterworth Hospital in Grand Rapids. The babies are doing fine, and doctors at Butterworth have a 3rd set of quads to be delivered in the next few weeks. They are busy.
What a story, isn't it? Looks like the weekend's getting off to a snowy start.
Yeah, roads are slippery again in the area. Let's get the forecast from meteorologist Keith Thompson.
Start out with a look at the radar because we do have a band or 2 of snow you see stretching here from around central Branch County right through the central part of St. Joseph County. Another lake effect snow band right here clipping through the northern part of Berrien County, right in here into Cass County around Dowagiac, Cassopolis, and also a little band here that stretches from around the lakeshore right through the southwestern quadrant of Allegan County. Now for tomorrow, we expect to see mostly cloudy skies early on with a chance for snow showers, but I think we'll see more sun later in the day. Warmer tomorrow too. We'll tell you more about this warm-up that's coming in just a few moments. Judy?
Thank you, Keith. Kentwood police have made a bust in what they think is a coast-to-coast counterfeit traveler's check ring. 2 men were picked up at Woodland Mall yesterday. Nearly 20 businesses in the Grand Rapids area reported receiving the bogus checks. It's believed the suspects are connected with a group with ties to Southern California. Police think they've been ripped off millions of dollars throughout the country.
In news around your world, a hijacking drama is being played out tonight in Germany. The Turkish airliner was commandeered as it left Cyprus bound for Istanbul. 100 passengers are on board. Now, this is video of the plane refueling in Bulgaria. The hijackers are Chechen rebels. 5 passengers have been released. The hijackers will reportedly release others if they get to talk to the media. Terrorism has struck again tonight, this time in London. A bomb exploded in a garbage can shortly after midnight British time in the western part of the city. Police say no one was hurt, but some homes did sustain damage. No one is claiming responsibility, but the suspicion is that it's the work of the Irish Republican Army. It looks like a scene out of Bosnia, but this is how it looked in Waiawega, Wisconsin today. Armored cars are being used to get people back to their homes. They're trying to rescue starving pets. They were left behind when 1,700 people were evacuated on Monday. A derailed train loaded with propane gas burst into flames. The fire could burn another 3 weeks. Good to get those pets back with some food. When we come back, shining new light on treating young cataract patients.
In your health, doctors now have another tool to fight the condition that can cause blindness.
And later, Ed Kengerski tells us about a Michigan driver ready to make a break for the top in Winston Cup racing.
You're watching News 3 with Jamie Bowe, Judy Marquis, meteorologist Keith Thompson, and John Coke Sports. News 3 continues after this.
By the time the closing bell sounded on Wall Street, the Dow Jones Industrials lost 171 points, and the huge drop was triggered by good news in the job market, stronger than expected February employment figures, which made investors worry that the Federal Reserve would hold off on cutting the interest rate. Workers at several General Motors plants in Michigan are not part of that good news.
The strike at an Ohio brake parts plant will have to end before they can go back to work. The workers are striking over safety and job security issues, and there are no scheduled talks this weekend. More than 25,000 GM workers are idle, including those at plants in Lansing, Auburn Hills, and Oakland County's Orion Township. The Centers for Disease Control is focusing attention on a Utah man with a rare condition.
In Your Health, Diane Daniels tells us about a man who repeatedly tested negative for AIDS, even though he has the disease.
Officials from Utah's Department of Health are not identifying the man, but they said he donated blood plasma more than 30 times over a 6-year period. Worldwide, the condition is so rare that only 2 other instances have ever been reported. Health Department officials say the man's blood plasma was treated and did not infect other people. Most of us associate cataracts with older people, but children can be affected by cataracts too in some rare cases. And in the very young, cataracts often cause blindness. Brett Hudson has cataracts, but Brett's cloudy lenses in his eyes have been replaced by doctors in Norfolk, Virginia, with permanent lenses just like those used in adults. Now Brett is seeing 20/20 or better. For Your Health, I'm Diane Daniels.
The surgery can be performed on kids as young as 16 months. The procedure is still experimental, though, and has not yet received FDA approval.
Keith Thompson is up next with some news that will warm us all up.
And later, some well-traveled items go on the auction block. Need a new suit? Check out this far-out sale.
News 3 continues with Keith Thompson's weather.
Chilly weather, but you tell us down the road here we got a warm-up coming.
Just hold on. I know it's very
Holding our
tough.
breath.
You know, it's one thing to be in the 20s or 30s when the normal high is 40 degrees, but it's another thing to be around 10, 12 degrees in
March, we're supposed to be flying kites and stuff, aren't we?
Wind chills below zero. In fact, up to 20 degrees below zero. You can fly a kite out there if you like.
Hold on, man.
And I would do so with like a parka or something like that. Awfully cold outside. And also, of course, with that cold air moving across Lake Michigan, we have snow showers. And they've been a bit on the heavy side throughout parts of the evening. So do be careful if you're driving, especially closer to the lakeshore. That's where we're seeing the heavier snow. See a few bands, though, set up here. And again, it's going to make some treacherous driving conditions out there. And you add on top of that some wind that's really blowing and drifting the snow out there, too. It even makes for a worse situation. Now, we'll show you the radar in motion here, show you how that flow of air has just been sending these bands of snow or keeping them right over in our area. You see they're not moving very much. A couple of the snow totals, Kalamazoo, about an inch, inch and a half on the ground. Muskegon, about 2.5 inches, while Grand Rapids, only about half an inch. So you can see it's very spotty, but one thing is constant. The closer you get to the lakeshore, the more of that snow that you're going to be seeing. In fact, you can see on the satellite picture, started out with lots of sunshine, but then ended up with a lot of clouds. But notice all the dry air just back here to the west. Large area of high pressure is going to be moving in here for the weekend, and that means more of that sunshine for us, and also we'll start to see a warm-up as well. Warm-up, that's just what we need. Normal high 40, but how about 12 for a high in Muskegon? Grand Rapids at Battle Creek today, Holland 15, and, well, the warm spot today, Kalamazoo 16 degrees. 14 right now in Kalamazoo, 13 in Battle Creek and Three Rivers, already down to 9 in Grand Rapids and Lansing. It's going to be another cold night out there. And along the lakeshore, 12 in Muskegon and Holland, 13 in South Haven, 15 degrees in St. Joseph. However, the wind chills are still below zero with a bit of a breeze still blowing across West Michigan. We do have some good news on the way for you, though. Check out the highs. For tomorrow, we'll make it into the mid to upper 20s. May not sound like a lot, but remember, today we were in the low to mid-teens. And Sunday, the warmer air starts moving in again with highs in the upper 30s. Looks like we'll be in the 40s on Monday. Quick look at your forecast for tonight. Mostly cloudy, again snow showers. Inland temperatures from 4 to 8 degrees. Lakeshore 7 to 12. For tomorrow, partly sunny. There might be some morning flurries. Still a snow shower likely to be about coming off the lake. But as the day wears on, I think we'll see more sun with a high in the mid to upper 20s. And looking ahead, there's that warm-up. 40s Monday and Tuesday, maybe even 50 by Wednesday.
Warming up to normal.
Get those Bermuda shorts ready to go.
You go ahead. Thanks, Keith. The entertainment world is gearing up for the Oscars, and the fashion industry is gearing up for one big night-long clothing commercial. The two big questions: who will win and what will they be wearing? Here are just a few of the things you are liable to see: million-dollar jewels and necklines ranging from racy to outrageous, and all the magazines. We'll be seeing them everywhere for weeks to come.
Where would you ever wear it here?
I have no idea. Friday night means scores and highlights from all over West Michigan.
Plus, college hockey action. It's the start of the CCHA playoffs, and Ed Kongursky will tell us who made it past the first round.
District basketball crowns up for grabs tonight. The scores and highlights from around West Michigan. It's coming up on Friday's Sports Extra. Hello and thanks for watching, everybody. High school hoops coming up in a bit, but first, a West Michigan man making headlines nationally. Grand Rapids' Johnny Benson Jr. has earned his first pole position since joining the big boys on the Winston Cup circuit. He'll run #1 at the Pure Later 500. Took him 4 races to do it. Benson averaged 185.4 miles per hour at the Atlanta Motor Speedway, hoping to outdo himself with the win on Sunday.
Pontiac's running pretty good, and these guys, man, just a super job getting this car ready. Well, we figured that we'd be in the top 10, so to be on the pole, that's just an extra added bonus. It's a long race here, and there's a lot of guys running this track really good, so we're just going to see if we can get through the weekend.
An incredible weekend already. His wife had a baby last night. Well, the curtain opened on the CCHA postseason this evening. Most felt if there's a first-round upset possibility, the Broncos could be the victim of an upstart Bowling Green club, the 5th seed. The Falcons, with a quick start in this one, they would never let up. The fans fired up, Lawson Arena rocking, but Western just couldn't break through goalie Mike Savard. Brilliant between the pipes. 34 saves for BG, one of them right there. In the second, Bowling Green up 1-0. Brent Punchard with the shot. Jeff Herman redirects it into the net past Mark Magliarditi. That made it 2-0. The Falcons' Curtis Fry, a great move as he beats Mags. It was 3-0 after 2 for BG. And then they just start pouring it on in the third. Mike Hill with the goal. And this is just the kind of night it was for the Broncos. Bowling Green just stuns them by a final score of 8-1. The Broncos now trail the best-of-3 series, 1-0.
If something was to go wrong tonight, it went wrong, and you know, we had opportunities, and the puck didn't bounce for us like you know, we hoped for, and you know, maybe tomorrow night a little bit of luck come our way, and we'll get those bounces.
For us now, we've got to win 2 in a row. So I told the boys I'm glad it's the team that I'm going to be coaching tomorrow night, and because we've seen to rebound against adversity all year, and I don't expect us to do anything less.
Some other near surprises tonight. Lake State at home but needs overtime to beat the Buckeyes. Michigan skates past the Redskins. And Michigan State also needing overtime to beat Ferris State. The score there 3-2. K-Wings fans are seeing double this weekend. Atlanta is anchored in town for a couple of nights. The Wings hoping to snap a 2-game losing skid. They haven't scored in 2 games. 5:49 of the second. Shane Peacock, the pass off of Jim Storm. Jamie Langenbrunner, the rookie, picks it up, ties the game at 3. 3 minutes later, Robert Petrovitsky to Travis Richards. Richards ends up finding Dale Kushner, who scores. 4-4. We go to a shootout. In the shootout, the captain, Derek Smith. Beautiful move there. Quick cut to make the goal for the K-Wings. But Atlanta would win the shootout 4-3. Stan Drula coming up. He beats Jordan Willis. Atlanta takes the game. Final score 6-5. The K-Wings do pick up a point, though. The Red Wings in Denver, the 3rd stop on a 4-game road trip, taking on the Colorado Avalanche. In the first, Paul Coffey, 8th goal of the season. Right now, they are in the 3rd period, and the Wings lead this one by a score of 3-1. Now, March Madness. District 1 in Portage with an intriguing matchup. Loy Norrick's coach Ken Jackson made a name for himself in Covert. Now trying to bring the Magic to Kalamazoo, facing Benton Harbor in the district finals. The Tigers out to pop the Knights' postseason bubble. Loy Norrick's goes to Maurice Anderson, the floater in the paint. Just a 4-point game early on. 2 words for you, though. Carey Hartfield, a Mr. Basketball finalist, the leap-in leaner for 2 and the foul. Pretty play here by the Tigers. Desmond Mitchell to Curtis McFall. They led it 43-31 at the break. In the third, the Knights on the run. Artwan Babbitt, check out this pass. Between the legs, Anthony White gets the hoop, but you can't catch this Tiger by the tail. Coming up, it's Mr. Hartfield with the slam. Benton Harbor slams Loy Norrick. The final score here, 92-76. Class C, Kalamazoo Christian battling Hopkins. This one in Gobles, and I think I see a comet tail from the corner. John Vandermeulen knocks down a 3 for K Christian. The Vikings get the bounce on this trip. Chris Johnston down the lane for the bucket. And then Tim Kistner starts feeling it from the outside, knocking down a 3. Hopkins with the victory. That is wrong. Hopkins with the victory tonight. The final score, 64-56. Well, we've given you a taste. Now the rest of the scores. All of these games in district play tonight. When we return, football news as well as college hoops. Stay with us. There is more to come on Friday Sports Extra.
3 continues with sports.
Welcome back. MAC semifinals from Toledo tonight. Eastern Michigan keeps on rolling as they beat Bonzi Wells and Ball State 87-71. And how about this? The host Rockets just destroy Miami 75-55. Toledo, the number 7 seed. They'll play Eastern for the championship and the automatic NCAA bid. That's tomorrow at 11:15. The game can be seen nationally on ESPN. Well, Division III postseason, Hope moves on with an impressive victory tonight. The Dutch blow out Wisconsin Whitewater 88-66 in Springfield, Ohio, a game that was tied at the half, believe it or not. Dwayne Bosma with 26 points. The sectional championship will be played tomorrow night. They'll take on Wittenberg. Top 10 hoops. Number 2 UMass facing George Washington. And Bill Cosby, got to be impressed with this. Marcus Camby going through the defense for the big slam. This was a close game throughout. And recall the Colonials beat UMass a couple weeks ago, their only loss of the year. Didn't happen tonight, though. Edgar Padilla with a steal in the hoop, 74-65. Number 2 UMass with the victory. In the Big East semifinals, UConn, number 3 in the country, taking on Syracuse. And Ray Allen for UConn was feeling it, folks, knocking down a 3. And then Ray Allen, so smooth with the jumper. Pull-up J goes down, and once again, Allen's going to connect from three-point land, 85-67. UConn pulls away in the second half to pick up this victory tonight. Prep wrestling individual state finals are being held at 2 sites in West Michigan. Division 1 and 2 in Kalamazoo, in Battle Creek, I should say. Division 3 and 4 in Kalamazoo. Tomorrow night, the finals in all 4 of those divisions. Football news tonight. Chris Spielman was perceived as the heart and soul of the Lions. Now he's wearing Buffalo blue instead of Honolulu blue. Spielman reached agreement on a free agent deal with Buffalo, 4 years, $8 million. He said it's sad to leave his NFL home of 8 seasons. He will truly, truly be missed. Well, the Lions have already taken steps to fill the vacancy. Actually, it happened before Spielman signed with the Bills. Former Giants linebacker Michael Brooks will join Detroit. He's had 100 or more tackles in 6 of his pro seasons, so he is indeed a solid pickup. Well, they call it Bikers, Babes, and Mayo. Daytona Beach, Florida. Part of its Biker Week festivities include the Female Coleslaw Wrestling Championships. 24 hardy women dove in fighting for the $500 first prize. Runner-up receives a lifetime supply of coleslaw. That part I made up, but they are wrestling for $500. Sports Extra is out of time for this Friday night. Thanks for watching. Jamie, Judy, and Keith back with a final word after this. Stay with us.
Check out the weather for the weekend.
Snow showers still out there for tonight, so do be extra careful. We'll take another peek at the radar and show you that. You can see a couple of lines of snow, and it might not look like much there, but believe me, if you're driving in that, it is a lot. And slippery roadways, too. Tomorrow, partly sunny. We might start off with some morning snow showers or flurries, then more sun later with highs in the mid to upper 20s. And we're going to be in the 40s, maybe even 50s by middle of next week.
All right.
Here, here.
Hold on. Thanks. You can own a piece of out-of-this-world history.
A complement of the old Soviet Union. Sotheby's auction house in New York City is getting ready to sell artifacts, prototype designs, and manuscripts from the Soviet space program.